What is up, guys? So 6.7 changed a few things around, and honestly a lot of champions are good right now, but let's go into my top picks for this patch. Like this video if you do, dislike it if you don't, and let me know what you guys think of these picks in the comments. We're actually going to start with the jungle this time round. So Volibear is going to be taking our number 1 spot for now. Basically he's just an all-around monster, has a bit of everything. You build tanky, you do a lot of damage, you can engage, you clear well, your ganks are good, and you're good early, mid and late game. He's always been like a decent pick, I think, but as these Devourer junglers get hit a bit and combined with the top lane tanks with damage meta, he's just become a lot better. Basically he deals well with carries because he can absorb their damage while dishing some out, but he can also deal with these tanks for the same reason. He basically does what they do but better. He's in the top 5 win rate wise for most elos right now and might not be as popular as a lot of the picks, but he can definitely have a really good impact. Like honestly, you're going to press Q, you right click on someone, you flip them, right click again to kill them. He's so easy, which is why he's great in every elo. For our second spot, we're actually going to split it. So at higher ranks, Kindred is a monster right now. She's a little bit difficult to play, I think. You're kind of playing an AD carry really in the jungle, jumping into a team fight, and that's not easy to do while actually staying alive. You bully almost every other jungler. Your ultimate, if used correctly, can be a game changer, and you seriously do so much damage, especially with this new kind of Devour Runans combo that uses your passive damage so much. If you put the time into practicing Kindred, then you can carry so hard, but you can also be useless if you have a bad game. Amumu is my lower elo pick. He's just a solid pick all around really. You'll have a lot of impact regardless, and it's not hard to do either. So like at plat and below, I guess, he keeps his crown as one of the best junglers there are. He can gank well, he can farm well, and in team fights his ultimate can do some serious work. Especially with this build we're using, we have a lot of damage while staying relatively tanky, and that is hard to deal with. I guess really the thing is you might get punished a little bit early just because Amumu isn't great, but as soon as you have your ultimate, you can use it whenever it's off cooldown, then you're guaranteed to have an impact every couple of minutes. So let's move on to AD carry, and I think like as a whole, overall the best to climb with is actually Jhin. He packs a serious amount of damage with his Q, his crit shot, his ultimate, even his root actually hurts as well. We said this before in my last video, right, but Deathfire is just too strong on him right now. Your passive converts attack speed and crit into bonus AD, which then adds to the AD from your other items, and all combined together increases your damage over time from Deathfire by a ton. This is actually a big part of why he's really good even when behind. Like I've crapped on Jhin so many times in lane, but in team fights he just sits at the back, he uses ult and he kills people from so far away. It is ridiculous. That is actually when he's behind too. He has a decent lane phase and can kill people quite easily with his damage, which leads to him being even more powerful mid game. I definitely think this guy overall as a whole is the best you can get right now in every single elo. We're going to split this again into high and low elo for our second pick. Kog'maw at high elo is an absolute monster. To put it into perspective, Echo right now has a 57%-ish win rate, and we all know how overpowered he is, right? Well, Kog has a 56% win rate just below him. Kog is played a lot less, so there is that. I guess he's not as busted as Echo, but it does show you how good he really is. The reason he's not played as much, I think, really comes down to his lane phase not being as strong as before, so it's easier to bully him, but once you get to mid-game, you're still this right-clicking machine that destroys tanks. These kind of tanks with damage like Echo are super annoying mid-game, honestly. We don't have as much mobility, but the later the game goes, the more their base damage falls off and the more damage we do, so it does get a lot easier. Now Kog isn't always the best at lower ranks because your support isn't going to help you as much and your team probably isn't going to protect you as much either. Mostly just for that reason, Sivir is going to be my low elo one. She's super good in that position though. You have your ult to speed you up and kite, plus your shield to absorb damage or crowd control. Sivir again is not the best in lane phase actually, but once you start to team fight, that AoE damage is absolutely insane and you can carry so hard. She has a lot of utility which can help your team like run away or engage. She has the damage you need, plus you don't need too much help to stay safe either. So we just started talking about Echo, so we might as well go onto the top lane now. That's probably where the biggest changes have happened this patch, and no surprise, Echo is going to be number 1. You'll probably know that I did a video about him a week ago, and I even climbed to Diamond on one of my accounts just playing him top and jungle. This guy is insane. We're going to get the obvious stuff out of the way first. So high base damage, and he abuses the top lane DLC pack, Grasp, Sunfire, Iceborne, and Visage. Let's talk about the not so obvious things though. So his mobility is through through the roof with that passive change. It makes going in and out of fights way too easily, and basically if he ever starts a fight with you, there's very little you can do. He's going to slow you and he'll speed himself up, so you are donezo. His ultimate means he can soak an absolute ton of damage and go really aggressive with no risk, and if that damage and utility wasn't enough, he even has the AoE stun as well. There isn't really a ton to say about Echo because we've all seen him and we all know why he's so good, but you should either really play him or ban him this patch. So the second spot, this one not so obvious, it's actually going to be Kale. Just like Kog actually, she has a very high win rate but isn't played that much. Again, Echo is like 57%-ish and Kale is almost 56%. The win rate isn't everything, it's actually kind of what leads her to having the win rate. So she does really well against these tanks with damage because of her armor and magic resist shred. That is actually so underrated. We all know her damage is insane, right? She has the ultimate to block damage, she can slow, she can kite and just basically right click and destroy us. When she's doing that in a team fight though, she can actually reduce everyone's armor and magic resist by 15%. That is why she just seems to wreck everyone with her Ginzu's Nashor's combo. She's not as easy to get to grips with as other top laners, let's be honest. If you're building full tank on someone, then you can get away with a lot. You can make a lot of mistakes and you aren't punished as hard. With Kale, you will be punished, but with the higher risk comes a better reward, I guess. You can practically 1v5 with this champion. I'm going to basically sum it up like this. So if you aren't comfortable top lane, then I'd say just stick to one of the tanks. You'll do well, you'll have a good impact anyway. If you are comfortable and you're just looking to take it to another level for a way to carry harder from top lane, carry those bad teammates, then Kale is definitely going to be the pick for you. Okay, so mid lane, this is probably the lane that has been least affected with all the changes this patch, and to be honest, there are a lot of good mid laners right now and no one is super broken. Zed got nerfed this patch, Lux was nerfed a few patches ago, and I think Ahri actually might be bugged at the moment. A few people have said it and I've noticed her passive doesn't really heal anything mid to late game at all. So anyway, those three are the giant kind of Titan picks, right? They're now out of the way and Vel'Koz is stepping up to the plate. He actually kind of does everything those three did wrapped into one alien little package, even though he does them in different ways. Catching someone with his knockup can lead to a long range burst kill like Lux. He has the wave clear and lane bully potential of someone like Ahri, and he can even reach the backlines with his ultimate to kill the carries like a Zed. So it's not quite that simple, right? But my point is he does a lot of things and he does them really well. His damage is definitely his biggest asset. That is why you pick him. You push mid hard, you wave clear really well, you poke with your geometry, and when it comes time to kill someone, you use that passive and ult of yours for some serious damage. Second place time, and I've already said there are a lot of different picks like Anivia, Malzahar, Corki, Zed, Ahri. These are all good, but we're going to go with Twisted Fate as the most well-rounded pick at the moment. TF does not have the best lane. It is okay, I guess. You can get a kill against more passive lanes, which we are moving towards, but it's always been about his ultimate. In the game right now, there are less people to kill him early, which is kind of nice for us. Plus, the game is super mid-game focused, which is where your ultimate can really come into play. As soon as you get level 6, you can affect other lanes so much. You can practically win someone else's lane for them. You can catch people out, you can counter gank. There are just so many ways to help your team do things. There's like this general rule surrounding Twisted Fate, really. He's always going to be good just because of his cross-map pressure, but he does struggle against assassins. So when they're around, he stops being picked as much, but when they go away and there are more mages, he comes back to the top. While he can get everyone ahead so well, he's got a low cooldown stun, AoE damage, poke, wave clear. Like all of these things make him a pretty solid pick in a team fight as well. So finally, support. I'm sorry boys, but I left this till last actually for a reason, because it's similar to my last video. Soraka is still on top, even better now after those nerfs a few patches ago. I say nerfs because they were supposed to bring her down a notch, but they actually just made her better. Her healing is amazing. She can sustain really well with her Q. It actually does decent damage now we max it. She can silence an enemy team, heal teammates across the map, and basically has everything. Playing against the Soraka is terrible, honestly. It stops all aggression because she just heals back the damage, and it basically covers up any mistakes her teammates ever make, which creates a really stale, boring game, honestly. It's not actually to do with Soraka herself, but the Grievous Wounds change here is the biggest deal. It only reduces self-healing this season, which is why even if you ignite your target, her heals will still apply fully to her allies. There's basically no counterplay to her except killing her, and if you focus her, then her team can just kill you. So I don't know, I honestly just permanently ban her right now. Our second spot is going to be Blitzcrank this time around. We had Janna here before, but there's two things. So first is just Soraka. I would never want to play Janna into Soraka because she does everything you can but better, basically. Instead of shielding, she can heal the damage back. Instead of a knock up, she silences, and instead of slowly healing in a circle around her, she instantly heals everyone. on. There is more to it obviously, but that is kind of it in a nutshell, I guess. And the other thing is, as we move into more passive laners, I guess, like Sivir, Kog'maw, Ashe, Jinx, like all of these are coming back a bit more now. They're low mobility and Blitzcrank can really punish them. He does a surprising amount of damage anyway, especially if you build an Iceborne Gauntlet. He's always been one of the best kill lanes, and I honestly think as far as carry support goes, he is at the top. You can get ahead in lane, you can hook and catch mid game, you can practically win a game by yourself doing that, and that's more than most supports can do. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think of these picks, but as always, like, subscribe, comment, share, and for now we're gonna go to the robots.